Greetings, YouTube. The other day while reading Metafilter, someone posted something and they put clip and save and it listed these three different statements as all being pertinent to the concepts that you are doing something wrong if you are doing these actions. So I'm going to elaborate upon the ideas, and I'll put the actual text that I cut from that discussion in the notes. But in essence, the person, and I apologize, I forget who the heck wrote this, says that if your religion makes you think any people are spiritually inferior to others, you're doing something wrong. So, and it doesn't matter who they are. If your religion tells you that atheists are inferior, or members of another theistic faith are inferior, or that there are certain ethnicities that are inferior, or genders that are inferior, or in any way, shape, or form, if your religion dictates that any other group in the world is not explicitly equal to you in every way, shape, or form, your religion has a problem. You are doing something wrong, and you need to address that. I don't care if you think you have the one true faith. It does not matter. I don't care if you can show me books that are 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, 1,000,000 years old. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you can show me religious leaders that are in control of millions of people. Billions, I don't care. It does not matter. If your faith is telling you some group out there is inferior to yours, well, you're doing something wrong. 2, if your science makes you think some class of people are mentally inferior to others, you are also doing it wrong. And all the same criteria I just spoke about previously also count. If you can use your scientific thoughts to be racist, saying that, plaid people are inferior to white people, or to say that people from that country are inferior to us here from this country, or if you're saying that atheists are superior to theists, theists are inferior to atheists, I should say, you're doing it wrong. You have to have a stance where everyone is considered to be equal. Now, not all knowledge bases are equal, and I freely admit that. And if you're going to do knowledge base to knowledge base, then maybe you have an argument. If you're saying that, okay, we have an understanding of how orbital dynamics works and what the shape of the planet is, and if someone says, no, the Earth is flat, you can compare those two positions to each other. They're on equal footing to be compared. Obviously, they're not on equal footing as far as validity is concerned, as the Earth is not flat. But at least you're comparing shapes of planets together. That's at least in the same arena. But if you're saying that science is superior to theism, you're doing it wrong. Because theism plays a role in people's lives, and you cannot replace theism with science, and you cannot replace science with theism. It doesn't work. And the two concepts can live inside people without interfering with each other. I'm telling you this. If you don't believe me, go read The Power of Myth. It's a wonderful explanation of how that works. But I'm telling you, it is possible. I live it every single day. And the last was, if your politics makes you think some people should be politically inferior to others, you're doing it wrong. And that's also true. If your political position is that some other group, and that group could be anything. It could be that women. It could be another political entity. It could be the LGBTQ community. It could be a minority of some variety, or it could be a majority of some variety. Say you were living in a country where you are in a minority and thinking that another group that outnumbers you is inferior in some way. For example, South Africa during the apartheid era. The whites were the minority, and yet they were in charge, and many of them felt that the blacks of South Africa were inferior, even though they were outnumbered multiple times. They had been successful at keeping political and economic power out of the hands of the majority. Of course, that ended eventually. But if your politics are telling you that any one group is not equal to every other group, you're doing it wrong. And we need to stop all of these things. We need to have equality across the board. And we need to make sure that it is on every conceivable level. religious, scientific, political. We need to make sure that the ideals that we as a species strive for are empathy, sympathy, and compassion. That even if someone is lost in the depths of ignorance about something, we still need to treat them fairly and as equals. We can help bring them up. We don't have to push them down. We don't have to consider ourselves to be being superior by standing on another human being to achieve that goal. What is one of the sayings attributed to the Christian faith is that no man is as tall when he's helping someone else up. Well, there you have it. We need to help everyone up. We need to make sure that no one is left behind economically, socially, politically, spiritually, educationally, that everyone has to be brought up to the same level so that we can all look around at equals, and then we can move ahead in a world of egalitarian democracy. And isn't that a whole lot better than some group thinking that they are superior to some other group?